Hey guys, it's Dee Dee on my way home from work. I haven't been on in so long. I've been through so much. I have so much to tell you guys. I'm sorry that I haven't been on. It's just been hectic. So, I know you guys all see my pregnant video. So, basically, turns out I was pregnant. I had a miscarriage, and I was gonna do my whole pregnancy test and put it on video and all of that, but I didn't. I said, you know what, this is something that I need to do on my own and see what happens, because I didn't know like what I wanted to do, truthfully, because I had a really traumatic birthing experience with Autumn. Well, the initial birthing was fine, but like I had to have a C-section, and I really wanted to have a natural birth. I've never had a C-section before her. She was my 4th pregnancy. Well, my 5th pregnancy, because I had a miscarriage just before I had her. She was my rainbow baby. So I was in labor. I can't talk. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on. I was in labor with her, and it was progressing really quickly, very quickly. When I came in, I was already in labor, and the doctor still wanted to induce me. I don't know why. So the labor went really, really quick. It was like within 4 hours, I was at like 8 centimeters or something like that, I think. So then we got all the way to 10, and they wanted to give me an epidural because the pain was excruciating. Like I couldn't take it because of the inducing, and I knew I didn't want to get induced because I knew it was more painful to be induced. It's like when I had Jada's birth was the easiest for me. She was a small baby. She was only 5 pounds 1 ounce. She was my third child. I went in, I pushed 4 times, that baby came flying out. I was in the hospital about 2 hours, but I had been in labor all day, but I was in the hospital about 2 hours before I had her. So that was easy. So I said, they didn't induce me with Jada, but they induced me with the other kids. And I remember the pain with Jada was not so bad, so I knew I didn't want to get induced again with Autumn. But Autumn was already at 40 weeks or something like that. And she was big. The doctor was like getting worried, so he's like, we're gonna induce you today. So on the way to induce me or whatever, I was already in labor throughout the day and didn't know. And when I got to the hospital, he said, you are in labor or whatever, but he still wanted to induce me. So anyway, when they go to do the epidural for Autumn, her heart rate dropped. So I had to have an emergency C-section. I remember them rushing me into the room. I lost a lot of blood. And so I went home, after the 3 or 4 days or whatever. I went home, and Autumn's dad had to leave within the next few days because he was taking care of me after my C-section, because I really had like nobody. Like I have family, but everybody's work, doing whatever they have to do, whatever. So he's taking care of me. And then when he left, he had to join go to his basic training in the army. So when he left, I had nobody to really take care of me, so I was basically fending for myself. And then like I was overdoing it. Basically, I was still driving people around, like, and I mean, I kid you not, like 5 days after I had the surgery. And then like, I don't know, it's really hard for me, so I'm trying not to get emotional. So I believe it was 10 days. Autumn was 10 days old, and I went to go get groceries because the kids were hungry, and I didn't even have any. I mean, I guess I should have called. I really don't like to bother people, so I guess I should have called somebody in my family and said, hey, can you go do this for me and whatever. Because I did have my aunt, she was coming over a lot, and I don't know why I didn't call anybody. But I went to go get groceries because they're starving. They're all like, I'm hungry. They woke me up out of my sleep. So I go to get the groceries or whatever. And I'm fine. I'm walking around the store, shopping, whatever. And on my way, after paying for groceries, I go to put the groceries in the car. And I wasn't able to move my hands. I remember trying to grab bags and I couldn't move my hands or whatever. So after that, I just fell onto the ground. I fell to the ground and I couldn't get up. Like, no matter what I was doing, I just could not get up. So some man was there and he helped me up off the ground. And then I came back. Like, I shouldn't say came back. I was able to move my limbs and everything, but I was still like nervous. I didn't know what was going on. And the man was like, okay, are you okay? Did you take medicine and this and that? So I call my cousin to tell her, like, hey, I just wasn't able to move my hands and I fell. And she's like, oh my God, like, call the the ambulance. So of course I didn't. I was like, I didn't think it was a big deal, so I didn't listen. I didn't call the ambulance. And then when I was trying to call my cousin, and for some reason I didn't have my cousin's number saved, so I ended up calling my landlady, the lady that I rented from her. And I told her, like, I was disoriented. So I told her, like, hey, I'm needing to go to the hospital. I said I didn't mean to call you, but I just fell down or whatever. I don't know what's going on. So she's like, are you okay? Are you okay? So then she came. She asked where I was at. So she came to the supermarket. And then her son was like, what's wrong? Are you okay? And then I'm sitting in the car with him. And he's like, no, you're not okay. He said, you're having a stroke. So he took me to the hospital. He drove me straight to the hospital. He's like asking me what's the quickest way to get to Good Salmon. I just couldn't remember. I didn't know to the hospital. I couldn't remember. So he's like, no, you're having a stroke. So I still didn't think nothing was wrong. I don't know why. I just didn't think. I was like, I'm gonna be fine, maybe, you know. So we rushed to the hospital. He's in the front. He drives me to the front. He sees people outside and he's like, we need help right away. She's having a stroke. He's like, we don't have time to wait. So the doctor that had delivered my baby, he happened to be at the hospital too. He's like, come on, let's go see, make sure you're okay. And he's like, oh my God, he feels so bad or whatever. He's trying to make sure I'm okay. So we go, we do testing and all that, and I'm sitting in the hospital still. Some family members come, like, are you okay, whatever, and I'm still like not thinking anything's crazy, nothing's wrong. So then another doctor came, the neurologist, I think it's the neurologist, and he's like, I think you did have a small stroke, but everything's gonna go back to the way before because it was small and it passed. So he said we have to do CAT scan and MRI to make sure you're okay. So they did a CAT scan and an MRI, and I'm sitting around the hospital still waiting. And then he comes back a little while and he says, well, you did have a TIA. So I Google it, and then it says that it's a mini stroke and that it's passing, and it doesn't last long and everything will go back to normal. Which the doctor already told me that, but for some reason I always have to Google stuff. Sorry, guys. For some reason, I always have to Google stuff or whatever. Which Google was not my friend after I had Autumn, because I went into major depression. Because I Googled it every day, trying to see my symptoms, and then I felt awful. Like, oh my God, I'm never going to be the same. For some reason, I kid you not, like, in my mind, I thought like I was dying. Like, any day now I'm gonna pass the hell out and die. Any day. But this didn't happen like right away. I swear, like 2 weeks after I had the TIA. I don't know why, I just got depressed and I just started playing the birth over and over, and I started saying, oh my God, why couldn't I just have the baby naturally? And I just started getting really depressed. So, and I just kept in my mind you know, trying to change and change and change. And, you know, you can't go back and change the past. But in my mind, I was trying. I really was trying to change the past. So it drove me into a deep, deep depression. And I was like, I don't know why. In my mind, I just thought I was never going to be the same. So it took me so long to do this video because I didn't want to go back into that dark place again. So that's why it took me so long to come out with this video. But the depression was so severe that I was not getting out of my bed. I wasn't showering. I wasn't eating. I would just be Googling stuff, like Googling strokes and what happened to people when they have strokes, and like it was just intense and crazy, and it was dark. And like when I think about that time, I still see dark, like darkness. So I really did not want to have another pregnancy. Like I was definitely afraid. Like I'm really afraid to be pregnant again. So I was planning to, I said if I am pregnant, I'm not gonna keep it because I'm afraid. Like I'm really afraid of something's gonna happen to me. Like I'm gonna die in childbirth or whatever. So, and of course everybody in my family is like, don't be afraid, it's okay or whatever. But I just did not want to do it. So that was like my biggest fear. I did not want to be pregnant again. And I know everybody would say, well, why didn't you use birth control and this and that? And then that was another thing. I was afraid to use birth control because the doctor told me, if you get birth control, make sure you don't get no hormones, nothing with hormones, because that could cause a stroke or whatever. So I really was afraid to get birth control. So now I, at this point, I'm like, I have to do something. I'm going to talk to the doctors and see if they can give me a low dose hormone. Maybe if I get a shot, maybe it'll be safer. I really don't know, but I'm going to, I have an appointment on Friday next week. So I'm going to see what they say or whatever, and we'll go from there. So I really was planning to terminate the pregnancy because I just couldn't deal with it. I was afraid. So by the grace of God, or God knows what's best, I will say, God knows what's best for me, I started to miscarry last Friday. Started bleeding, and I thought like, oh, okay, this is just regular spotting, you know, because when you're pregnant sometimes you just spot. So I said this is regular spotting. But then I'm at work and I walk all day at work. I walk the whole day, lift heavy things or whatever. So I was like, maybe it's just because of this, walking and lifting heavy stuff, and I started to cramp up. And then I don't eat pork. I really try not to eat it because it's not healthy for me. No other reason. It's not against my religion or nothing like that. I just don't eat it because it's not healthy for me. So at this point, I guess because of the pregnancy, I'm craving some pepperoni. And then I said, hey, maybe I'm just feeling some kind of way, you know, because I don't eat the pork. You know, sometimes when you don't eat pork, your body starts to act funny. You get sick after you eat it or whatever. So I said, maybe it's just that. But then I just keep walking around this store at work or whatever, and then I had like excruciating pain. It just kept going, coming and going since the morning. So finally by 1 o'clock I said, hey, I can't do this no more. I gotta go to the hospital. Like this pain is killing me. Like the pain was killing me. So I go to the doctor, to the hospital, and the doctor, they did tests or whatever. They did testing, took blood. I was only about 9 weeks, he says. So they didn't feel the need to do a sonogram. So they didn't do a sonogram. So he did blood work. He came back It took about an hour and a half. I was waiting there so long. And they did the HCG, that's the pregnancy hormone. They did the count of that. And at 8 or 9 weeks, he said it should have been at 100,000. When they took the testing or whatever, did the counts, it was at 4. And he says, yes, you're definitely having a miscarriage, because at that point I was already passing the clots or whatever. And then they asked me to take urine, and it was like full of, it was pink from all the blood that I had in there. I'm gonna just pull into this store, the Walmart here, shopping center, and just talk for a few minutes. So, yeah, he said, yeah, since you're passing clots, and he said, yeah, you're definitely having a miscarriage. He says only out of 4. And then he says, because I've had a miscarriage before, so I knew exactly what it felt like or whatever. So I just wanted to be sure, and then you have to make sure that it's like you're not hemorrhaging or whatever. So I said, let me go to the hospital. So he said, you already know, you just gotta wait it out or whatever. There was no need to do anything else. He told me to go back to my regular doctor, my gynecologist or whatever, and to see a primary care physician. So, yes, I just went through the miscarriage. I have finally stopped bleeding. I think I just stopped bleeding on Monday this week. Because the miscarriage started happening the Friday before last. So it's almost a week and a half that I was bleeding. So yeah, I had the miscarriage. And the whole time, Autumn kept saying to me, Mommy, what's wrong with your stomach? It's so fat. I think you're pregnant. And I'm like, okay, Autumn, I'm not pregnant, because I didn't want to be pregnant. But it's so funny that she kept saying that to me. But she does watch a lot of YouTubers, and a lot of them are pregnant at this point. So she just kept saying, Mommy, you're pregnant. So I said, no, I'm not. But, yeah, so God knows best and knows what I need. And I was struggling and with the decision to have a termination. I was wanting to terminate it, but I was like, God, please, I don't want to do this to my body again. And I started to feel bad, like I was doing something wrong. So I didn't want to have to do the miscarriage. So I think that God gave me an out, so I didn't have to do it. I didn't have to do the termination. So I'm okay with it. I did go through a little sadness. I won't really say, well, yeah, I was kind of depressed for a few days. So that is really why I haven't been posting, because I was depressed. And I do still suffer from depression from time to time. It like comes and goes, but it has not been as severe as after I first had Autumn. It's like that was really an awful, awful, awful time for me. Like, I've never been so down in my life. And like, I've been through some stuff, and I can tell you guys, like, I have stories to tell. I've been through some stuff, and I've never been that depressed in my life. So I just didn't want to feel that again. And I was like, I cannot do that to my kids again. Like, my kids see me crying every day. Like, I was like out of my mind. Like, I was not the same person. I was not the same. And I just would go to counseling. So please, guys, if you have to seek counseling. There's nothing wrong with, let me turn the car back on because I turned the AC. Please, there's nothing wrong with getting counseling and talking to somebody. Even if you don't get counseling, talk to a friend. Don't isolate yourself if you feel depressed, because the isolation was really bad. That's what put me in a really dark place. And then you have to be around people that are positive and uplifting. Like, when I had my depression, I felt like everybody was like against me. It could have just been a depression talking to me, but I felt like everybody was against me. Like, I felt like I always was there for everybody, And I felt like, okay, nobody's here for me. And I just kind of basically started to like say, hey, I'm just gonna stop. After I came out of my depression, I just sat there and thought about things, and I'm like, hey, okay, I did too much for a lot of people, and these people were not here for me. And then not to say that I was like, screw all of them. I just said, hey, I'm gonna put me first, and that was what I did. And then I had to move from New York to North Carolina with Autumn's dad and my children because he joined the military. And then everybody's telling me like, oh, that's not a good decision, like, what are you doing that for? Like, everybody's basically trying to, not everybody, certain people were trying to tell me like, oh, he's moving you out of state to be mean to you and this and that. But it wasn't nothing like that. They were just jealous. And I'm gonna say that's the truth, because like there's certain people in my family, and well, a certain person in my family, this person's always very negative and like always has something negative to say about everybody, and he tries to deflect and make other people out to be the person that he is. And it's like, no, he's not you, he's his own person or whatever. And don't get me wrong, there's sometimes that me and D go through our issues, because every relationship has issues, but it's not to the point where I'm like, it's times where like, hey, I want to walk away and be like, hey, you're getting on my goddamn nerves, but it's not to the point where like it's draining me, you know, you understand? Like, everybody's relationship has issues. Me and him just have poor communication skills, and I think him and I have both been through a lot of stuff, and we just don't know how to deal with certain issues without getting all upset. So we definitely have to work on that. If we want the relationship to work, we've definitely got to go and get some counseling or something, because we do have our moments. So yeah, but at that point, I just said, let me put myself first, because I am number one, besides my children. And if I'm not okay for my children, nobody else is gonna take care of them like me. So I just started to say, hey, I gotta put me first. And that was what I did. And then it's like, people weren't used to it, I guess. So yeah. But yeah, I was pregnant, and I had another miscarriage, and I'm okay with it, because God knows what's best for me. And I am definitely going to get on, I know everybody's going to say, get on birth control. I promise you, I'm going to get birth control. I promise you. Because I don't want to have the scares, and then like, I don't want the hormone, like after the pregnancy, I still have the hormones right now, and I'm not saying that I'm sad or whatever, but I do have days that are not as good as they could be, if you understand. So I don't want to feel that again. And then there's the times when I feel myself getting sad or whatever. So I try to get a distraction. I either read, watch TV. My favorite show, I don't know if I told you guys already, this is Wildin' Out with Nick Cannon. But I like the older episodes, so I go back and watch those, and I just laugh and have a great time with them, whatever. And then my kids make me laugh. They're all silly, all of them, even Autumn, so they make me laugh. I spend time with them. And it's like one day I felt so sad and down, and I tried calling a few people and nobody answered. So I said, you know what, you gotta try to come up out of this. So I did. I was able to pull myself up out. So I'm starting to get emotional. So I'm gonna try to I'm gonna continue this later. If you guys have questions or whatever, we can talk about it more. You can leave comments down below, ask me anything. I'm trying to be open and honest with you guys. So yeah, And Tasia has class tonight, so I need to get my tail home and start cooking dinner for them. I'm gonna make baked ziti for them. I'm gonna try to do my cooking with Dee Dee video tonight. So yeah. But guys, ask me anything. So I'm gonna end up this vlog and get my tail home. But thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And again, if you guys are struggling with anything, mentally, emotionally, physically, always seek help. Seek help. Don't isolate yourself. Don't hide your issues from your family and friends if they're asking you. It's because they're concerned. There's nothing wrong with getting counseling. There's nothing wrong with taking medications if you have to. There's nothing wrong with just making yourself be healthy. But yeah, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Love you all. Bye.